Hey there guys, Micah Curtis here. Obviously, judging by the title of this particular video, this is not exactly the sort of thing that normally gets talked about on this particular channel. Today what I wanted to do was to post a segment from my podcast, On the Grind, which if you want to listen to regular episodes, the link is going to be down in the description to go over and subscribe to that channel. We talked about the issues going on with Froot. And in doing so, myself and the editor-in-chief of Grindstone Arts, Mike, we went through the documentation in regards to the things that Froot had posted, but also materials that basically give an idea of what exactly it is that causes this lich VTuber to be as controversial as she is. And we basically take some time to break it all down for you and to just discuss it. I felt like this segment came out great, because the things that we dug up into this gave us kind of a new perspective on this whole mess, which is why the thumbnail to this video says that everyone in this situation is terrible. But regardless, I would hope that you would watch this to its completion. If you enjoy the segment, please go over to the Grindstone Arts channel and subscribe so that you can get the heads up on whenever we upload any new material, podcasts, trailers for new comic books, things along those lines. And of course, for segments like this, you can also catch us over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and really anywhere that you get your podcasts as well. So on that note, I'll go ahead and let you guys watch. And if you enjoy this content, again, go subscribe to the Grindstone Arts channel. Catch you guys later. All right.
Good news.
So this is a tough subject.
Certainly.
I did not expect this to kind of turn out the way that it was. So, for those of you playing the home game, to give you guys just everybody will have an idea of what is going on. So, some people may be familiar with a VTuber talent who goes by the name of Froot, F-R-O-O-T, or Apricot. She is a VTuber talent who debuted in the year 2000, and is one of the many VTubers who really benefited from the COVID boom. That was when she basically made her name in the VTubing space. Where she is this presents herself as this adorable little British, lich VTuber, whatever. And as time has gone on, details about her past have come out. Accusations of her cheating on her spouse being probably the most prominent, and things of that nature. And recently what she did was she put a document out onto X where she talks about and just basically drops a bunch of messages from Facebook Messenger between her and her ex-husband. What we're going to do now is we are going to break down what happened, why people dislike this chick, so on and so forth. We're going to put references to this as well so that people can look these things up. But there's some things that I like that all of us here agree with that I want to just kind of preface before we go into this. The first thing is that our honesty about the subject does not mean that we are going to bat for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you assume that we are, for whatever reason, you are incorrect. And you're kind of being a dick. None of us on this panel think that cheating is justified in any scenario. None of us believe have that belief.
Don't do it.
Yeah. However, there is another thing that needs to be mentioned. Part of what we will be doing is doing a little bit of myth busting. Talking about what can be verified, what cannot be verified. Where the game of telephone is coming in. Things of that nature. Some people might be upset at the fact that we do that. My general blanket statement, if you get pissed off at that, go fuck yourself. And there's a reason I say that. I used to say to people quite often in Discord, whenever there would be arguments that strike up, do not put me in a position as an honest man where I have to defend a dishonest person. Or a vile person. Or just a bad person in general. Because you, who also do not like this person, lie about them. Because if there's one thing, one overall statement about all of this scenario that I think applies, is that two wrongs do not make it right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing if you lie about any of the people within this. Truth is stranger than fiction, and the truth of this scenario is fucking strange. And, again, we'll let people come to their own conclusions, but don't think that our honesty about the situation is an endorsement of anyone. It's not. It's just being honest, which is what we're supposed to do if we're going to cover stories. So, that is the boilerplate thing right up front. I think that to preface, but like before we get into this, Jesus fucking Christ, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Genuinely,
I would also like to say, and I think we all can be in agreement about this, is that regardless of what you think about these people, nobody deserves to be abused. I don't condone abuse of anybody, even if they're shitty people. And it's easy to say that shitty people deserve it. Nobody deserves to be abused.
No. And
I don't want anyone thinking that just because we're commenting on somebody that may have had a problem with fidelity, what we can or can't confirm as a problem with fidelity doesn't mean that they deserve to be abused.
Yeah. We also don't condone harassing people because of the things that go on in this. Any of the parties involved. I very much believe that God will catch up with you. Some people call it karma or what have you. You don't need to be an agent of that if you're on the internet. You don't. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to answer the question of whether or not VShojo has a hoe problem. Because that's admittedly been like a joke that I have made about VShojo, like from when they started, is that they were the hoish VTuber company. Now VLR has taken that spot for being very blatant about it. The big thing that, like, when VShojo started is they had a lot of VTubers that you would call thirst trappers. They don't now. A lot of those people left over something that had to do with Froot that we'll discuss. But that was sort of like a big thing with them. But basically what we're going to be talking about is whether or not, or what happened between Froot and her husband, ex-husband, and how that applies to, or what the truth of all this is. Where does VShojo as a company come into it is going to be also a discussion that we have as part of it as well.
Also, you had a couple of performers that were on Chatterbait as their character.
Project Melody being the most. Yeah, Project Melody being the most well known of them.
To be fair, that is her gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, she is a porn star.
And they knew that going in, so I mean...
Yeah. I always appreciated the honesty, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, the lewd, the dirty, like, the down and dirty aspect of, like, we're not going to sit here and pretend that we're not all about this. Like, okay, that's cool. I can respect that. Then, obviously, it's the personalities, they're like any roster of personalities, they're a mixed bag.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to flip a coin. And this coin is basically going to determine whether we start with Froot or the husband.
Because, her document that she provided is very heavy. But due to her lack of organizational skills, or her ability to manipulate, we can't really determine. She organized everything by emotional impact. And I had to go through that entire thing and organize it by actual timeline. And Mike, on the other hand, had to go off and try to determine, why does nobody like Froot?
Yeah. And that's what we're going to start with, because it landed on heads.
Okay.
So, why does everyone dislike Froot? Now, there will be a couple of documents that we'll put out there that are our notes on all of this, so people can kind of follow our trains of thought. And Mike and I both kind of came to the conclusion of, fuck everybody. But so I'm just going to read from what I have here. Is that the notes in this video in regards to cheating are notes taken from Aunt Hime's video on the subject. So if you, it's her most well-known video. The same video that Apricot Froot of V Shoujo false flagged for copyright, which was later overturned by YouTube. Now some people that are fans of Froot might say, well, how can you call that false flagging? Because it was overturned.
Mm-hmm.
That is YouTube saying this is bullshit, and we're not doing this. And she refused to take any sort of legal measures against it. It was basically just trying to abusing the copyright system on YouTube to try and silence someone. Another thing to mention is that Froot's mother, who is also a piece of work, organized for Aunt Hime's videos to be mass flagged, and on top of that, to have her Discord mass flagged as well, which is vile, to say the least. Again, we are very anti-harassment here from anybody. Mm-hmm. So we're actually starting off now. Now we all know why we don't like Froot's mom, but
yeah.
But here's some general notes about Froot from why she is disliked, and then the things that I could find that actually there was it was a basis in something of just I don't like her face, So the first thing that I noticed was that she has freely used racial and homophobic slurs in private, while portraying herself as this ultra progressive nice girl in public. Now here's the thing: we all get spicy in this group. We all do. Yeah. We've gotten spicy on podcasts before because it's funny, but we'll admit that we're doing it as a bit. We're just joking around. We're not being serious about it. We're not the type of people to act like we're paragons of virtue when we talk like that to each other. Froot portrays herself as such, and people find her very hypocritical for that, which is understandable. I can't really argue against it. It's people's opinions. She's also known for, and I think this is probably one of her most infamous moments, was known for passive-aggressively joining the pile-on of fellow VTubers who played the infamous wizard game of Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I went digging. I could not find her specifically talking shit about Silvervale or Pikami, both of whom were the biggest targets, effectively, of that harassment campaign that went on in the VTuber sphere towards those two girls. I could not find her directly addressing either of them. So, all I can say is that it's passive-aggressive. What I will say is that in cases like this, when you have an audience as big as she does, passive-aggressive can turn out to be just as bad as aggressive in a different way. Because you're feeding the beast. You're feeding into it. You're feeding into public frenzy. You are increasing the temperature of the conversation. And the more you increase the temperature, the crazier and more unhinged people get. So, it's not that she just didn't help. She didn't help to degrees of unhelpfulness that made it worse. So that, of course, is a good reason to dislike her. And I admittedly, that's part of the reason why I personally do not like this person. This whole thing led to a tweet where she had said she would donate $1 to an infamous trans charity called Mermaids for every like that a specific post on X got. Mermaids has a history of grooming children into a specific mindset. Basically, the solution to the confusions that you have as a young person are you're trans.
Yeah,
Can't be that you're just a kid. Oh, go ahead, Xavier.
Everyone had that moment when they were growing up where they just kind of don't feel like they fit in. They don't know where in the world they belong. It's just kind of a part of growing up because your body's changing. You're trying to find yourself. You haven't really decided who you are as a person. Well, that's okay. Here's a group of people that are going to tell you who you are, and don't you dare question them.
Yeah. That is basically what Mermaids does. And on top of that, a trustee of the group was notable for giving a speech to a pedophile aid group. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really need to say much beyond that. The tweet in question received over 56,000 likes, and then not $1 was donated to any charity from anyone by her to anyone's public knowledge. Now, one thing I will say in her defense, again, I'm gonna be I don't like her, but I will be fair here. She found out about this stuff because people linked her the shit that Mermaids has done, and even she went, okay, fuck them. I'm going to try to find a different charity. But to everyone's knowledge, the charity was never found. It is possible maybe she donated money in private to a different charity. I don't know. But it's never been confirmed, so for all we know, she has basically tried to sweep that little post on X under the rug, hoping that people are going to forget it. But it has made a meme amongst people who dislike her that just basically is, where's the fucking money, Froot? So there's that. She and her husband, her ex-husband, had a faux military patch business that where they made basically military-style patches, but with like anime-ish style characters. She is an artist, so that was her role within the group. But she did this with her now ex-husband. A lot of people got fucked over by that business. They asked for refunds when the whole thing folded. Some people did get refunds. A lot of people didn't. Now, as it will be illustrated during the course of this conversation, these two are toxic to one another. They had no business being in business. And then, of course, the final thing that we're going to be talking about is the fact that she is known for cheating on her ex with several other men. Now, we need to get into the specifics of the cheating. So this happened in the spring and early summer of 2018, which is when her husband was deployed to Afghanistan. Her ex-husband is a was a tank operator for the U.S. Army. So, messages from Discord user Cinestix, who worked with her and her husband in the patch business, shows that the two of them, him and Froot, were trading intimate messages. I'm gonna get a little explicit with this, but I feel like that this needs to be said so people understand exactly the type of conversations that are going on here. The two of them trading intimate messages specifically about Froot, and I quote, dreaming about someone fucking her to sleep, with the implications that this person was Cinna, the man she was talking to. One thing that she has claimed is that she doesn't actually know this guy, or that he was a stalker or something like that. The two of them knew each other in real life. They had been pictured together. They worked for the business in that business together, so on and so forth. So that statement from her is a fabrication. She knew this guy, knew him quite intimately. And I'm choosing my words very carefully there. The same conversation also implied that she was wanting to have sex with him, would have taken the opportunity during this conversation, but she was exhausted, effectively. Other messages imply that they have had mutual masturbation sessions, and that Froot had feelings for him. This is all of that is evidence of adulterous behavior. There is, in my opinion, no other way you can slice it. If you're gonna act like sexting somebody else is not cheating, you're lying to yourself, or you're just being hoish. And at that point, in my opinion, you're just made for the streets.
Also, where does it end? Look, it wasn't cheating. You know, they just did oral. Oh, it wasn't cheating. It only did butt stuff.
Yeah.
But you never let me do butt stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. It's one of those things where there is a lot of people making excuses for this. Folks, don't excuse bad behavior just because you like someone. Don't do it. You know,
you go get dragged down with them so hard when it becomes a little more clear.
I like Mark Hamill as an actor. Like, you know, I like Star Wars. I like a lot of the movies he's been in, but Mark Hamill as a human being does a lot of dumb things that I really can't condone.
Yeah.
Especially now, but
as it stands, there is a you know, like, if you're there's a reason that people on social media are getting very pissed off at people that are defending this chick, and doing so unilaterally, including the deplorable actions she has taken, because the actions she took were deplorable. And if you can't acknowledge that, people are going to react and they're going to call you certain names. I will freely admit there is a chick that tried to condone this sort of stuff on X yesterday, and I said that what her take on it was a dumb hoe take. And yo ass is made for the streets. You know, there's a lot of chicks, VTubers that I've seen have had takes on this that, lo and behold, they be hoes. Yo ass is made for the streets. So,
now, some people I've seen have takes, so I think that they've knee-jerked and they've put a lot too much focus on the other thing that we're going to be talking about, which obviously is the abuse.
Yes.
And because I've seen a lot of people sit there and complain that you're against cheating, but you're not saying anything about the abuse. Which is why we started this with neither is okay.
Yeah. We needed to preface that, because there's a lot of fucked up shit in all of this.
And I think that as we're going to dig into a little bit further, I think that this was probably deliberately set up so that all people think about is the abuse instead of this person's poor character and these allegations of infidelity.
Yeah. It is like the whole thing that we're doing with this is we're painting the picture and answering the question of whether or not this company has a problem with some hoishness. So continue on. The other thing that is worth mentioning is that we do know from conversations with Cinna that were verified by a third party is that nudes were sent out. Some of them were leaked. I believe, I could be incorrect about this, I did watch the video at like 4 in the morning, is that Cinna said that he didn't leak those nudes because those weren't photos that he received. Meaning that somebody else was sent those and then leaked them. We don't know who. But it is evidence that there were other intimate conversations going on where nude photos of herself were being sent to gentlemen that were not her husband. Gentleman or gentlemen's, I should say. So, she also had lied to Cinna and told him that she wasn't in a relationship when they were starting all of this. Then the idea of, and this is a quote from her, the idea of losing him, quote unquote, I'm assuming this is the husband, was more than she could bear. Essentially, this Cinna guy she strung along for cheating for emotional comfort, basically. Which is, again, inexcusable. when she was finally caught by the husband because Cinna confessed to the guy, which is why I'm assuming that he is not dead. She took to Facebook saying that her cheating was a fabrication, though obviously the chat logs share a different story. There's also a contradiction in the Facebook statement, where she admits to having, and I quote, conversations that a married woman shouldn't be having with someone while intoxicated. So that's cheating. You know, it's like, I got drunk and cheated, and then I cheated. It's like, you still cheated.
Mm-hmm. 1 glass of tequila, 4 glasses of tequila, doesn't matter. You cheated.
Yep.
All those posters say that as soon as somebody has a drink, whoever touches who is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're teaching in colleges.
And there's levels of truth to that. But the fact is that she went into this conversation drinking with an intention. You know? Because what drinking does is it removes your inhibitions. So she went into a conversation with the intention of removing inhibition via drinking. And then she ends up cheating. Yeah, there's no excuse for that.
Drinking also brings out the person you really are inside, and that's why some people get very happy and energetic, and other people get really, really angry and violent.
Yep.
Unless you're drinking tequila, in which case it just makes everyone violent.
This is true. Now, the rumor is that there are 5 different men that she had been intimate with on some level. I was unable to find verification of this. So, now, I'm not saying that isn't true. I'm just saying we can't prove it. If someone has evidence of this, they have not come forward with it. Like, actual tenable evidence. This seems like a game of telephone thing. Where girl clearly cheated with multiple dudes. Hey, that Five Guys meme with Zoe Quinn was really funny back in the day. Let's do it here as a joke. And then people start taking it as a fact.
Yeah. So she went for a Five Guys run.
Yeah.
Before long, so she cheated with 5 guys. Purple Monkey dishwasher.
Basically. And here's the thing. People are probably going to get on my ass for dismissing the meme. Don't make me defend dishonest people then.
Now, you got the logs to show that there's 5 dudes out there, then by
let's
all
see
means
them.
Provide those logs. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see them. And we'll follow up on this. So let me go through what we can confirm, what's very possible but not verifiable, and what we can't confirm. What we can confirm is that Froot did indeed cheat on her husband in the year of our Lord 2018, while he was deployed. That is true. To what degree of cheating, we don't know. But she did indeed cheat on him via sexting over Discord and sending nudes to people that were not her husband. That is cheating. Mm-hmm. Is it the harshest, most vile kind of cheating? If there are levels to this, then no, it's not. It's nowhere near as bad as actually going and fucking a dude. But we'll get to that in a second. But this is what we have absolute evidence of, is that she did indeed do that.
Right.
So again, this has been...
There are degrees of cheating, and some of them aren't so bad that you should really think about what that says about your character. That you consider like acceptable levels of cheating. Yeah,
I agree with Xavier 100% there. Now the thing is, some people are going to get mad. There is documented evidence of this that has been verified by another person as being real. So yeah, this happened. That you cannot deny this and say you're being an honest person. I understand if you like this, if you're entertained by Froot. I understand if she has, if her streams maybe have impacted you in a positive way. Then I'm very happy for you. But
this doesn't take away from your positive experience. It's just other people interacting with her had a very negative experience.
Exactly. Every streamer that you will find, every talent that you will find, all of us have sinned. Even me. I've done some things in my life that I regret. That we will actually talk about this as we wrap this section up. And basically, it doesn't matter what happened. The fact is that she cheated on her husband while he was deployed. That is a fact. Now, what is very possible but not verifiable? These are if we're going green, yellow, red in regards to what is a fact, what is maybe, what is not. This is the yellow portion. This is the center portion of it could have happened, but there's a pretty good chance that it also didn't happen. So the first thing that is possible but not verifiable is that the cheating did get physical at points. The things that make me think that are the exchange of nudes, the nature of Discord conversations, plus her knowing at least one person IRL makes this a possibility. Now, keep in mind, all of those things separate aren't really indicative of anything. All three of them together are indicative of a possibility. I am not saying that it's a fact. I just need to throw that out there. And second is that there were multiple individuals that may have also been used to cheat on with the husband. Or on the husband with, rather. Given that the source of the nudes was not Cinna. So, what can't we confirm, though? So this is the red thing. This is a lie. That, as of right now, from what we know, there were not 5 guys. We don't have an exact number. Could be less, could be more. We don't know. But the 5 guys meme is not applicable. Unless more people, aside from whoever posted the nudes, come forward with evidence that they were intimate with this girl online, or in other cases, I think that most that can safely be assumed is that she cheated on her husband with 2 different people at the very least. So sorry, we can't use Zoe Quinn memes here. If you're mad about the fact that I'm shooting that down, get over it. Don't make me defend dishonest people. You know, I'm just repeating myself at that point. So,
yeah, there's plenty of reason to dislike this person, but do it honestly. Do it for stuff that they actually did, not stuff that, is just somebody said.
Basically.
Hate to be honest about it. Ugh.
Yeah. So that is the facts about Froot. She did cheat. She's a cheater, and that's going to stay with her for the rest of her days. Now, there is another fact that needs to be addressed in this, and that is, she was abused. So, Mike, I will, before we talk about where Vishojo comes in, I will hand it off to you for what happened between the 2 of them.
Everybody in this story is fucking unhinged. But as an aside, to paraphrase a great philosopher, this may come as harsh and confrontational, but I hope everyone involved in this story dies. Okay, so sometime in July or August 2017. Alright, so I had to organize this entire fucking thing. Because the entire document that she dropped was, again, organized by emotional impact. Meaning, like, all the things that were fucked up were given higher priority. And they were all disjointed. It's just the most rambling document, but from a female perspective, it kind of makes sense because you're looking at all the things that are most fucked up all the way to least fucked up. And I organized everything from February 2017 to September 2018. That's all the evidence she provided. So, here's what I've kind of gleaned from this whole thing, from this one document. Sometime in July or August 2017, she moves to America from England to join him after a year of dating, but she doesn't have a way back home. This was supposed to be a vacation visit. And then she marries him after feeling pressured to do so. He was using her as a way to have an army house, which he'd have lost if he didn't have a wife, because he had a ex-wife previous. After he married, then he apparently started ramping up abuse. He apparently bullied and blackmailed her over parties that she had at the university house that she was staying at before their marriage. And after she moved in with him, trying to turn into her Stepford wife, As you can tell, it doesn't really work out.
Yeah, let's pause real quick. The blackmail over the parties makes me wonder what happened at those parties that you can blackmail somebody over.
Right?
So it makes me wonder, was infidelity a problem before they even got married?
So yeah, there's that.
Or
It's
just like weird college shit, you know? Because it could have very well been just before they got together, she just lived a very active party life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, either way, there was something she was ashamed of there. We don't know what, but the possibility is that is a possibility that has to be considered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I confess, the document I organized does not include any outside accounts of her actions or behaviors. That's all Micah.
Yep.
What I have done is to put everything in a more orderly timeline instead of layered by emotional impact. I will also admit that I initially sided with the guy due to Froot joining in on the bullying of Pikami and Silvervale, to the point where Pikami had to basically reincarnate. But the fact of the matter is, he threatens suicide multiple times over incidents, threatens separation, which he doesn't follow through on, and there is proof of bullying from him. But that is if this is genuinely at all of him being talked to, that is. Rumors persist of having the habit of lying, and none of this includes later years, in spite of calling him a boyfriend of 6 years. Regardless, abuse is abuse and should never be tolerated. So, in February 2017, he attempts to join accounts, but her mother is in control of her finances at this point. The mother becomes defensive over the daughter and rightfully points out that it can be symptoms of controlling behavior. I'm gonna say this here. She's Nostradamus.
Yeah.
This apparently becomes a rift point between the mother and Froot. So, nothing happens till about May 2017, where she gets a dyslexia diagnosis. She gets a dyslexia diagnosis, which he accuses her of using as a crutch, and that suddenly she is conveniently magically retarded. This man, being a member of the U.S. Armed Military, is very crass. I'm just going to let you know that.
He also was a 4chaner too.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks like one. That's admittedly, when I was reading the logs and I saw that and some other things he said, I actually busted out laughing because I'm like, is this dude a real person?
So
he is a fucking walking meme. I swear to God, he is basically Pole Manifest.
He really is.
All right.
She married a Poltard, it seems.
Mm-hmm. However, while he is pointing out that she may be using it as an excuse, on the other hand, dyslexia does have something called working memory weakness, which can cause memory problems, on top of short-term memory weakness, which fucks with both types of memory. Judging purely by the way she organized everything on this fucking document, I am inclined to believe she has dyslexia. He foresees this relationship as becoming rocky over this apparent usage of disability as a crutch for behavioral issues. I'm just going to say, bro's Nostradamus. One sec, I'll be right back.
Yeah, because I'll actually expand on that, because that was actually one thing I forgot to put in my side of the discussion, is that there was a video that she did that came across as a bit tone deaf when she tried. It kind of came across like a self-diagnosis of autism. And
this was not a self-diagnosis. She apparently went to go to a psychiatrist to go get this dealt with.
Mm.
So, yeah, he basically says that she's now conveniently magically retarded over this. So, this is where shit gets weird. June 2017, he gets mad over not being called in front of a friend, and then gets mad over being called in front of a friend, and then a few days later he gets mad over a stove and noodles. So, later in the document, but roughly in this time of the month, a friend shows up in the university's house, and she socializes with him while texting X at the same time. He proceeds to get angry that the friend takes precedence over a video call. A few days later, he gets mad at one of her male friends, as he has a good actor's voice, who was overhearing parts of a conversation while she was having him over the phone. And he quote says, well, one, I am concerned about the privacy of our conversations when we call now, and two, that's the gayest thing a man has ever indirectly ever told me. He straight up calls the fucking compliments gay and creepy.
What the fuck?
Jen, is it gay to accept compliments over your voice?
No.
So, a few days after this, he apparently gets really angry over her disappearing for like 30 or 40 minutes to deal with a broken stove that she was trying to use to make noodles. The source of this apparent consternation was a terrorist threat that was going on in the UK at the time. And during the entire time, though, he was being cunty the entire fucking time. So the reasonability of this fear for her kind of goes way down. And then, so he gets mad over the fact that she went to somebody else to ask for help with the problem with the stove. And so she sends a video of him of the problem. And then he gets mad that he wasn't the first one to be asked to help, and he just doesn't help her. She was still living in the university house with like 6 other people at this point, and one of them managed to get this gas stove working, but he still fights over the fucking stove.
And it was just like the pilot light was out, right?
Yes. This section alone is 11 pages long, and he is a genuine cunt the entire time, pointing out her dyslexia might be the root cause of her failure to get this thing working, amongst other things. I don't understand why she went to marry this motherfucker after this.
Yeah. This dude's trying to roadhouse her, you know? You're too stupid to have a good time.
This should have been, like, the biggest red flag of all. Because apparently whenever he argues, he just goes on and on and on about shit. I don't know why she put up with this. So, in July 2017, there's the airport incident in Sweden. Oh my goodness, this is a little fucked up. So she got molested by someone at a Swedish airport. She was taking a nap, and she woke up and someone was groping her. And she had to flee to a bathroom to, like, escape the dude. And I originally wrote down she's mad at him for making emoji faces instead of being disturbed. Kind of looking at it again, all he was doing was making emoji faces. The reason why she was in Sweden is because he fucked up buying her a proper fucking ticket to America, because the transfer
couldn't get her a direct flight, so she had to like go a roundabout.
She had to go on a roundabout to get to America.
From Britain to Sweden? What the fuck?
From Britain to Sweden, it's airplane math is fucking weird. I hate it.
Is.
And once I started reading more of the rest of the stuff, I was like, okay, that is a little unhinged. That the only impact that you have from your, like, girlfriend or perhaps fiance or whatever the fuck she was at this point is just an emoji, like, sad face. That's it. That's 2 emoji sad faces was his response, and then yeah, I'm pretty certain this is where she left England to go visit him, and then got married to him based on her information. So, yeah, so Haver will be able to confirm this, but when you're in the military, you either get a barracks, you get to live in the barracks, or if you have a partner, you get to go live in one of the army houses. And bro had an army house.
So the way it worked for us in the Air Force is we had dorms. So we actually had like college dorm rooms that were for us, and usually they have like a shared kitchen area that were pretty nice. You want to move out of the dorms, you have to be a E5 or higher. Sometimes they would give it to E4s, but it's very rare. Or you had to be married. That's the only way you could get into base housing, which is the houses they have on the base for families, or you get a base housing stipend so that you can rent a place off base. And that in either case, it's based on the members of your family unit. So if you have, there's just as a spouse, you get so much money. You get a child, you get even more money, which is kind of why so many people get married in the military. It's, well, if you do this, we're just going to give you a shit ton of more money.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you do this thing that people tell you is a bad decision, but it's going to make you a bunch more money?
So yeah, the next few months have no incidents listed until December. So then he starts threatening to kill himself over multiple obligations not being met by her, while pointing out that he was trying to do his own obligations, including buying the airport ticket that led her to getting molested. At the same time, he kind of blames her for getting molested at the airport in Sweden.
Jesus fuck.
So yeah.
Classy
and
guy.
Then a couple days later, after that fight, in January, he gets mad over the Yuri and like the anime Citrus, and then calls being gay a mental disorder. And I had to like grab this quote because I was fucking, I had to it made me fucking chuckle when I read it, because I was just like, oh my goodness, lad, what are you doing? They were fighting over the Yuri, and about how it might look bad to the military. But then he says, it means you're too blinded by emotions to realize how unscientific it is for people to be fucking gay.
I'm trying not to laugh. Oh, God.
He's very, very adamant that it is Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and is kind of grossed out by this. He gets extraordinarily upset over the Yuri anime and calls her a closet gay. She calls him childish, and he points out she's not taking care of herself, so she doesn't have room to call him childish. She promises not to ruin his reputation with the gay. And then they have a fight over video call for 2 hours, during which he apparently threatens suicide multiple times and batters her emotionally with it over the gay anime. Later in the document, he gets so bad about it, he dumps her as a result. During the next 3 days, she starts becoming depressed, likely as a result of this fight, and begins drinking. So, then Bro gets mad that she's depressed, and he wants to fuck, but she doesn't want to. Considers that he starts thinking his love life is withering without his sex life. He threatens to cheat on her. Oh.
Real quick. What time period are we, or where are we at in the timeline here?
January 2018.
So, 2018, a little bit later in the year, is when she started cheating on him, not too long after this.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so he threatens to cheat on her with another woman, and also points that his chaplain stated that he was likely to divorce his next wife over getting the same sort of feelings, and then threatens to leave constantly over not getting what he wants. And then later in the document, but after this, he tries to force her to leave England and drop her university degree while pointing out she can continue in the US. I will, however, say this is probably a terrible idea, and she was right to if she she was right not to if she didn't. Fucking US student.
It's a lot easier to come from a different country with a completed completed degree than it is with a partial degree.
And then February 2018, he compares her to his ex-wife. He straight up making comparisons to his ex-wife, right down to the behavior, her mirroring the previous woman. And judging from his behavior, I'm starting not to blame the previous woman. My goodness. He's fucked.
Yeah, have we gotten to the point of what he was apparently asking for?
Oh, that's May 2018, the sex acts consent incident. Oh goodness, I had to use a little bit of autismo fucking analysis on this, and it's fucking okay. So in May 2018, she doesn't make it clear what he's asking for, but he's extremely upset that she's not willing to provide it after asking several times. He starts threatening suicide over her saying no. He points out that the ex-wife came to the same conclusion over the same thing. Using my autismo analysis, I am fairly certain the breaking point in both this guy's relationships was anal. Also, phrasing.
Yeah. So let's discuss this for a second.
Look, I'm gonna end Hero if you don't let me get up in them guts from the back door.
Oh God! I mean, yeah, that's basically what the dude is threatening. It's like, look, I've dated women that have been into it. Over the last, I got divorced in the year 2008, so that was 16 years ago. So in the last 16 years, I've had like 12 girlfriends. You know, I've had some, like, I think the amount of girls I've been with sexually that were into that, maybe a quarter of them. If the girl doesn't want to do it, man, she don't want to do it. The if sex is getting to a point where just having normal sex ain't doing it for you, it's not that you just need to go searching for other holes. You've got a problem with you, homie. Mm-hmm. Especially if, like, it fucked up your previous marriage, too. Like, good lord, man. What the fuck?
Like, bro is, like, fucking hard up. And then, so he threatens to cheat on another woman with her if he can't get it. And then he threatens to leave if he can't have kids. I'm gonna point out real quick, that is abuser behavior, where you try and, like put chains on someone as much as you can. And
yeah.
As many...
yeah.
In this situation, I was kind of, like, leery of calling that abusive behavior until it became clear with the rest of the evidence being presented that, yeah, he was definitely trying to, like, chain her down so that way she wouldn't be able to leave. Because he wouldn't let her have friends, he wouldn't let her out of the house. And, yeah, it was getting kind of fucked. But here's where something interesting happened. In June 2018, he kicks her out of the house. She got kicked out of the house over her being bored at a shooting range. Keep in mind, she has no friends, no family. They were all in the UK. And then he apologizes a few days after, claiming that he's just human, they make mistakes. And
now, there is an irony with her saying she has no friends. This was around the time that she was cheating with Cinna over Discord.
Yeah, and she claimed that she had no friends. And that's where... And then September 2018, she was complaining to her brother that she was required to have makeup for video calls. Because he wants to see the real pretty you. I don't want to see the ugly you. I want to see the pretty you. Yeah. So...
Jesus fucking Christ.
There's no Facebook evidence here, but some venting to her brother over this was put down as evidence. And... yeah, that's the end of all of Froot's document. That's all I organized. And
now, it's
nothing
really
else.
Weird for her not to have friends, especially as a military spouse, because the amount of support groups, spousal groups that are there that are constantly doing events, doing big community things, is huge. Every base has them, has multiple ones. There was plenty of opportunity for her to make friends with other spouses, or even, depending on where he was stationed, go off base and meet people.
Which I apparently did, but...
It is one of those things where... this is a situation where... so another truth that we can get from this. She was abused by this man.
She was genuinely abused.
Anytime you threaten somebody with leaving unless they do what you say, that is abuse. Is abuse when your mother tells you that, because you don't act right, she's going to run away and abandon you because you don't behave yourself.
Yeah.
It's abuse when a partner says, I'm going to divorce you, or I'm going to break up with you if you don't do this thing that I want. That is abuse, and is unacceptable, no matter what.
Yeah.
Now, if you two have just different values, and those values are incompatible, like him wanting kids and her not wanting kids, that is a valid thing to divorce over, because that's just a difference in values. You're not really going to get the thing that's going to make you happy there, and if you're not able to work it out, then maybe you should part.
Yeah. The conclusions that we can come to from both of this is that both of these people are bad people.
They're fucking unhinged. That's I just. It's unreasonable to call this much shit fake, but like, she has a lot, and no doubt, if there's any action at this point, legal action anyway, it'll all come out in the wash.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this kind of leaves V Shoujo in a really fucking weird spot.
Yeah, so let's talk about where V Shoujo comes into all this as a company. So, what happened after Froot dropped this document is she got pretty much unilateral support from V Shoujo talents in regards to it, which all of those talents are catching mad shit for basically ignoring the fact that she cheated on her husband. Which, again, yes, she was abused. Cheating on somebody when they're abusing you is a bad idea. And honestly, you're effectively abusing someone in turn. So the solution to abuse is more abuse? No, that doesn't compute. We'll talk more about that in a minute, like the moral implications of all this stuff. But but regardless, V Shoujo's, talent basically almost universally have supported her. The only two talents I don't recall making a statement about this in support were Giga and Henya. I might have just missed it with Giga, and with Henya, she is off on vacation right now, so she might be away from social media. Yeah. Now, one member of V Shoujo, how dare she, decided to go more in depth after seeing people's responses to her support of Froot. That person was Kason. She was flat out told to delete a tweet saying that cheating was unacceptable. I'm going to read this. This is from Kason. She says, "Oh boy, everyone is being so nasty about this post, and I just noticed it. Not getting the situation correctly, but I admit I only have read the first few pages of the document. I rushed to show love and support to my V Shoujo sis. I think that that's also what the other girls did. Let me make myself clear about this because I don't want any misunderstanding. No, I do not tolerate cheating. As an One-san of V Shoujo," that means older sister, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or big sis, yeah.
Okay. So as big sis of V Shoujo, I have the right to slap her in the face if she did so. Very Japanese of her.
Very Yakuza.
Yes. I know nothing about relationships, so who am I to judge about her past? But at the end of the day, Froot has been nothing but nice to me from day one. That's all that matters to me. So yes, I will support my girl if she's feeling down. I'll respect her opinion, right or wrong, but try to persuade her if she's going the wrong way. That's the kind of friend I want. I don't judge people by what they are said to be like on the internet. I only judge by what someone is towards me because of what I have experienced. This is my opinion. Thank you for reading this." And then she goes on to say, "Only love and support can make people better." Just wanted to say that out loud. And then she tweets after that, says, "Okay, management told me to delete it," it being the long paragraph, so I did, but I'll leave this above post, the one about only love and support making people better, because it's what I think. I have reached out to V Shoujo as of the recording of this podcast, which is on Sunday the 22nd of September in the year of our Lord 2024, because I want to know why they asked her to delete it. If the knee-jerk reaction from people is, well, they asked her to delete it because she said cheating was bad, that was my knee-jerk reaction too. But it could also be the idea about her talking about slapping Froot in the face.
Because that is a little too Yakuza.
Yeah. So yeah. So let's get to the conclusions on this to be honest, again, everybody in this situation sucks as a person. Everybody. The dude sucks because he's an abusive asshole. A lot of the stuff that I read when I read through the doc reminded me a lot of the shit that my ex-wife would pull towards me. The threats of divorce, the threats of leaving me, the threats of this and that, the consistent demeaning, stuff like that. And I admittedly, people are going to get mad at me for saying this. When it comes to that, she has my sympathy because I've been there. However, I didn't cheat on my spouse. She ended up cheating on me. And because again, it's an abusive relationship, I got treated like dirt. Had the shoe been on the other foot, there would have been no excuse for it. On top of that, I also come from the perspective on this as someone who has not only lived in the experience of being in the abusive relationship and being the receiver of abuse, I'm also a person that was used as the person to cheat with. A girl that I dated, I did not know she was still with her ex. With her now ex. And the dude was an abusive pile of garbage. Part of the reason that I get very up in arms about this whole idea of it's okay to cheat if you're being abused is that it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't do anything for you. All you're doing is lowering yourself to the same sort of evil that the person who is abusing you is doing. There's no other way, in my opinion, to look at it. Like you're returning evil with evil.
It also can reinforce certain behaviors, such as if you're unhappy, it's permissible to cheat. And in a situation where you're being abused, obviously, it's not okay to cheat, but if you justify it there, what happens when you're in a much better relationship and you're just going through a rough patch? Well, I'm unhappy, so it's okay to cheat. I'm not saying that's how some people justify it, but there are some people that justify that I'm unhappy, so it's okay for me to cheat to get what I want elsewhere. But I don't want to lose what I have here because this is stability. Yeah.
And the thing is that there is there's also the fact that if the person is physically, could potentially get violent, you've effectively created another target. What's going to stop this person who is doing this to you to now do it to other people? To the person you cheated with? You've effectively created another potential victim because you want to get your rocks off. Now, I understand that the reason that people tend to cheat is because of they feel constrained, which abuse will do to you, and you want a sense of freedom, and you want a sense of to kind of get the things that you're not getting from the relationship you're in. That's why people do it. Some people say
excitement is a reason.
That could be it too, but excitement is supposed to be something that relationships provide as well, and that's something that you're not getting. So, but it's basically the idea is you're trying to fill in the blanks by getting your blanks filled in. Giggity. But anyway,
yeah,
I needed to crack at least one joke, but the way that it go, the simple fact is that, to break it down for folks. One thing we also need to say, the whole thing about her saying she exercised bodily autonomy, that had nothing to do with the cheating. That's another myth that needs to be busted. She said that in regards she didn't want to dick up her ass.
Mm-hmm. That's basically it.
Which, by the way, she has a right to not have a dick up her ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Yeah.
He was complaining the whole time. He's like, "Oh, I only have one woman in the world. Oh," and then he would flip on her and say, "Oh, well, if you don't give me anal, and then I'm gonna go do it with other women." I'm like, "Bro,
Maybe you should have found a girl that liked anal before you decided to get married.
Yeah, if that's such a big deal, maybe you should have had that conversation at the start. Jesus Christ, man.
I guarantee you, like the strip club, just like half a mile out the base, as someone just willing to take it up there. All right, it's
You don't fall in love with the strippers. You don't marry the strippers because
they've been in the business a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a story about this. A guy I went to tech school when I was enlisted. He actually got to go off base. He went to the strip club, and he developed a crush on one of the strippers there.
Oh no!
And we started
Oh,
joking about it with him,
no.
and like, so what's her name? And he says, "Baby." Is that actually her name,
no!
or is that?
Oh,
And
no.
he says, "No, it's just that's the word she has tattooed on her thigh."
Oh, no.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
okay, so you don't even know her name; you just know her branding.
Oh, no. Oh, no. But now here, let me say this: do I think that this means that Vishojo has a hoe problem? Not really. The Visho hoe thing is just a joke. I think I'm gonna delete that post on X because given the context of all of this, as I have learned more about it, that's one that I'm not too proud of.
Yeah, you got some problem people, but otherwise, it's just a roster like any other roster. It's got its highlights, it's got its mid tiers, it's got its so-sos.
Yeah, I think that what this is this is a situation where a bunch of broken people came together to break things even more. I'm of the opinion, after reading through all of this, that I'm hoping that Froot seeks mental counseling. And I don't say that to be mean. I mean that to be honest. Because look,
get some help.
In all seriousness, like, given all the shit that I've gone through, I can say that going to counseling, and things like that, and talking to somebody about all the things that happened to me, like, that really helped me as time went on. And as time has gone on, it has put me in a mental state where I am able to learn things about myself and improve things about myself, so that then I know the warning signs of not, of what to avoid in regards to relationships, but also the idea that, now I think that I could be, if I ever got married again, a much better husband than I ever could have been when I was younger. I legitimately think that she's got issues, and I can understand why people dislike her. I don't like her either, especially after seeing all of this. But at the same time, I don't want people to stay that way. I want her to improve herself, because if she doesn't, at some point, the things that cause her to do these things, like the passive-aggressive shit on Twitter, like the almost donating to a charity that, clearly has support for pedophiles and groomers and shit, things along those lines. And then, of course, the cheating on the husband, despite the situation you were in. I don't want to see people be like that for their entire life. I am hoping she gets, I really legitimately hope she gets some help. Because what she did, clearly, they did not, Vishojo and Froot did not, sit down with a legal counsel or PR, actual knowledgeable PR people, to discuss whether or not this is something that she should have done. Because she shouldn't have. Because at the end of the day, all that's happening is you're just entrenching people. The people who didn't like you, now they hate you even more. To the point where people are actively going out of their way to start confronting other VShojo talents on what's going on with this. That they weren't doing that beforehand. So you made the situation worse not only for you, but for people around you. And the people that already liked you, they're probably... The simps are going to keep on simping. That's the most extreme case. But the people that were already fans of hers will either ignore that this happened or they will make excuses for it. We've already seen both happen.
Now that kind of brings to something else I wanted to talk about is the last time she really popped off with any sort of negative stuff besides was probably about the Aunt Hime video.
Yeah.
And that was around the time of the Hogwarts legacy issues. Other than that, nobody really talks about her so that I can see. Every now and again, somebody will bring up the cheating, but all the people that don't like her don't watch her.
Yeah.
And they only talk about her when they pop up in her feed. They pop up in their feed. So the question I have to ask is, why drop this document now? Why do it at all?
There's no reason whatsoever.
What is to be gained by this other than all of a sudden a bunch of people see, okay, you were abused, and here's some fucked up shit that happened to you. All of a sudden, just a overwhelming jump in support from people that don't know you, and regardless of anything else you've done, none of that matters because you had a bad time. Was that, I don't want to assign any sort of malice to this, but it just seems odd that nobody was really talking about it anymore. It didn't seem to impact her too heavily. Just all the people that didn't like her already weren't watching her. And again, cheating allegations only come up sometimes. And all the people that like her don't care or dismiss it. So why bring all this up at all? Especially because some of this borderlines on defamation or even if it's true, defamation law is such that you can't just drop a bunch of stuff that's going to potentially wreck somebody's reputation. Is my understanding of the law. Legal Mindsets did a stream that I didn't get to watch. He would probably know more about it, and I think that's one of the reasons why he did that stream is because obviously a lawyer did not help her write this.
Yeah, which was a huge mistake. The last thing that I would add, and I'm saying this, I'm not a law person or anything like that. I am somebody who has done public relations work and things like that. The one thing I would have flat out said to her in this particular case is, you need to fess up to what you did wrong. I'm genuinely of the belief that if she flat out said, this is why I acted the way that I did, but I still shouldn't have done it. I should have done this a different way. I should have just left, and hindsight is 20/20. If she had said that, which, by the way, might be behind the scenes what she believes. I don't know. I don't know this person. But if she had said that publicly with this, I think people would have been a lot more sympathetic. I think people would... She might have even been, by acknowledging past mistakes that she made, she might have been able to, really turn public opinion of her the opposite direction. But, again, clearly nobody with some sense consulted on this, this is just part of the reason why I have a very negative view of VShojo as a company. Is I genuinely think that whenever it comes to these tough scenarios, that company is full of morons, and they don't know how to handle this. And I have a feeling that we are going to have, the Hogwarts Legacy thing was the first test of that. They failed. They lost several talents in the aftermath of it, and they gained new ones, new ones that are just as popular. But, you know, the fact remains is that the issue, the mismanagement, and things like that, those problems are still there if you're telling people to delete tweets that just happen to say, hey, cheating is bad. You know, clearly your PR person sucks. And you need to get somebody else who's really good at it. Because, like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. So that concludes our discussion on this. We're going to go ahead and move on with it. One thing I will mention is that for some of you, I actually plan on putting this section of the podcast on my YouTube channel as well. So that people can discuss it and kind of get some more eyes on the particular discussion. So yeah, conclusions are, yes, Froot was abused, but yes, she also cheated. Wasn't with 5 guys. The bodily autonomy thing was not her defending cheating. It was her saying that she didn't want to get fucked in the ass, assumedly. And
that's the only place it was used.
Yeah, and everybody fucking sucks. Everybody.
Yeah.
All of them suck.
Nobody's a winner here.
Yeah, Froot's terrible. Her ex-husband's terrible. Her mom is terrible. The company she works for is terrible. Fuck all of them.